that's about all we got for that. The big one is the Chili Bowl
It is.
that happened this past
I've
week.
heard of that.
It's
I've
it's
heard of it.
it's yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
So for uh con I was gonna say condensation purposes, but that's not right.
Condensation is getting wet.
Condensation purposes, yes.
Did you say moist?
Consolidation purposes, that sounds better. Winners from the Chili Bowl, just so we get this out of the way, because we talked about it beforehand, so we didn't look like complete idiots when we brought it up. Otherwise, we'd sit here thinking, wait, who won one night?
Oh no, I know you. Don't
So
know.
Monday, Cannon McIntosh. Tuesday, Kyle Larson. Wednesday, Rico kicked some ass. Thursday, Christopher Bell. Friday, Justin Grant, and obviously Saturday was a repeat win for Kyle Larson again.
And Bell took the race of champions.
Yes, and Bell took the race of champions, which Sammy Swindell was not in,
No,
or T Mac, or JJ Yaley.
No, or Damian Gardner. That's
Oh yes, Damian Gardner.
Well,
Maybe
so
Yaley
well.
was in it, but Damian Gardner, I
no,
forgot.
Yaley wasn't. Either.
Wasn't he? So I don't know. There's a whole lot to uncover there. Going night by night might be a little bit much, but I just know some highlights from each night, from a few nights. When I think of Monday, obviously Ken McIntosh repeats, right?
Yes.
He's won that prelim last year, but the one that stood out for me the most was Tim McCready, obviously a late model guy,
Right.
having horrible luck. I'm sorry, not horrible luck. I even we're sitting out here watching in his heat race, and I threw my hands up. Nicole, what the hell are you doing? Was running second in his heat race, gonna have some decent passing points, and ended up spinning out and having to go to the tail, go through the C main, transfer from the B main, which he did, made the A main, came up to 8th, I believe.
Yeah, I was thinking there's some hell of good drives.
Yes, so that was one that stuck out for me Monday.
Yes.
Obviously Cannon McIntosh set the tone. Keith Kuhn's cars were going to be strong again. We all kind of knew.
Yeah.
And he reaffirmed it on Monday.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And this, there's people, and I'm one of them. They set it out. Bell races different night than Larson. Rico races different night, and all that. They all kind of pick their nights, and so it's kind of set up every year for Bell, Rico, Larson, and now we got Cannon McIntosh repeating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, the drive, and that's one thing I noticed every night. There's somebody that's came from deep.
Yeah,
like in the C almost every single night to make the A.
Mm-hmm.
And that was huge. And that's why I love the Chili Bowl. And it really sucked not being there because you can only see what the camera shows.
Yeah.
And I think that was evident. We'll get to Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about the other, but
yeah,
to me, it was very evident Saturday night. Because everybody is bitching. Well, that was a boring race. But then you look at results and Darren Pittman went 20th.
Yeah.
5th.
I was
because it's the Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell syndrome. Cameras are on them 90% of the time, no matter if they're 1st, 8th, 10th. We've seen that on their qualifying nights. Oh, there's Christopher Bell, 3rd in the heat. Who gives a shit? Show the battle for 1st or the battle. Somebody's battling for 5th or 4th or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, you have your soapbox now?
Yeah.
So, Tuesday, Kyle Larson won. Kind of held on, actually.
Yes.
He didn't dominate, and that was Saturday too, but Team has even said, hey, I'm racing Kyle Larson. I'm not going to dump the guy.
Well, and it rubbered up.
It rubbered up, and he was in.
Yeah.
Take what you can get at that point.
T-Mez was very lenient on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have moved him. I mean, I love T-Mez's interview, and he just, he's popping him in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was like, I just wanted to let him know I was there. And I mean, he had a faster car, I think, by all means. But if he would have tried the outside, then you get out of the stuff, you're throwing away your A main spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And could have happened if he tried moving him harder. And like T-Mez says, hey, he's always raced me clean. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I could have, but he knew he was here. He probably knows we was better.
Yeah, and especially like you said, Chili Bowl. Yeah, you're in. I mean, there's only 10 guys that are in from the week. So
and T-Mez to me is smart. I mean, would the T-Mez 5 years ago done that? Probably not.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, they would have been both upside down in the middle of the track.
Yes.
I mean, so it just shows that he's grown a lot too, because every once in a while he gets upside down, but to me, he's got one of the best car controls. I mean, obviously Larson does too, but T-Mez, he can put a car in a lot of places too that a lot of the other guys can't. So,
well, yeah. Well, Wednesday night was Rico, who pretty much put a stomping on the field.
He won by almost 3 seconds.
Yeah, but it was good racing behind him.
Yes.
I can't remember who was all in the mix, but I do remember watching the highlights, thinking, oh, yeah, he won, but the race behind, like
Yeah.
from third on to sixth or so,
Oh yeah, it was
was
real
pretty
good
good.
races.
Thursday, Christopher Bell. I honestly didn't watch any of that night. I don't think.
Yeah, he pretty much Christopher Belled it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
And then the big night, I believe, was Friday night with Justin Grant.
yes,
Ricky Stenhouse showed up.
yes,
Kind of showed up. He had to show up. Let's put it that way. There was a little bit of chatter of a newcomer to the Chili Bowl, which raised some hell in his heat race. And I think Ricky Stenhouse was he one of the casualties from that gentleman,
oh
from that
yes, from
Esberg dude?
the Asperg dude.
Yeah.
And to me, that was way overblown. I mean, I see. Okay, the guy had very little bit experience.
Well, so it was said he didn't even know the chili. He didn't know.
He
He
didn't.
never heard
And
of
then
the Chili Bowl till last week. Never heard of Kyle Larson. Rented a ride and showed up.
yeah, and he's raced up pavement stuff, modifieds, and that's what he says. I was pavement,
Yeah.
and he shows you not everybody in racing knows who Kyle Larson is. Not everybody knows who Chili Bowl is. And yes, he didn't have a Hans device, and uh, he went in a little hard on the front stretch and flipped, and other guys got in. Everybody's making such a big deal about it. I mean, um, some people a lot of big deal about it. Yeah, it took Stenhouse, but I seen guys that's raced there several years do just as bad
Yeah.
and keep doing it every single year. There's a couple guys on some of those qualifying nights that was in 5 wrecks,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody's bitching about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Well,
for a fact on the one qualifying night, the one guy took out 4 different people.
yeah. So this guy was
Oh, he flipped bad. It was
well,
nasty.
but he flipped his dick off. But that was after he wrecked like 3 other dudes, right?
No,
No.
he
Okay.
started on the pole.
I knew that. I just thought he
And
was beating the hell out of people, and then
No,
eventually
he came
flipped.
around the corner like in whatever couple laps, and just went flying off turn 4. And he was going for it. He
Mhm.
wasn't pussyfooting. He wasn't out there. He wasn't a rent a ride, and I don't know how to say it politically correct because I wouldn't mind being one of those rent a ride guys, like say
Yeah.
Ross Weiss or Gravy, one of those guys. He was kind of like those guys,
Mhm.
Gravy and them. And I ain't saying Gravy and Ross and those guys didn't try, but they kind of use their head. They
use their head.
well, no, they kind of, not to disguise it, but they gradually tried to get faster and faster. Well, this guy, he's going for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no, okay, I got hot laps.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this. So he comes flying off turn 4 and just got way too wide, which is easy to do at Chili Bowl. I've seen 10 cars do it. I mean, there's some guys. Matt Linder did it on his own when it comes to mind. A couple other guys did it on their own that's been there several times.
Mm-hmm.
He just gets hot off turn 4, climbs wall, and flips. It was a nasty flip because he didn't have a Hans device on and all that. And his interview was priceless.
Yeah.
Some of them, I mean.
He still made a qualifier, too.
Yeah, exactly.
He was 40th
and everybody was, well, and the best thing is out of Group 7 on the Lonnie Wheatley deal with 800, he was like the 4th best driver in that whole Group 7 the whole week, and everybody's bragging on him because he had one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people got way too excited because here's a nobody. Think their feelings got hurt because he said, what Chili Bowl was, what Kyle Larson was.
Well, and
I mean, I've seen guys that's been racing there for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. To me,
look just as bad.
Well, and to me, and I know I'm going to take some shit for it. To me, it ain't different than Robert Bell being out there going 10 miles per hour slower than guys 20 miles per hour slower at Kokomo in those places and running up on him. He's just as dangerous at some tracks that he's on, and everybody cheers him. So
yeah.
I get it. He's low budget, or he's been saying he's low budget for 42 years that he's been racing. But
well, and I'm mixed on it, but at the end of the day, like I remember once upon a time at Oakshade, our local track, there was a guy who raced a car that was a bucket of shit, and same thing, just it's a draw there, so he could start on the pole, and he was 20 mile an hour slower than everyone. When he started on the pole, everyone would bitch and say he should go to the back, and then I forget who it was, one driver said, no, this is racing. He drew that spot. That's where he starts. It's our job to do it right.
Yeah, so, I mean, the guy paid his way and did so. I mean, yeah, it sucks for some of the other teams, and I get the fact, well, you don't want to score on the front row. It's going to wipe out a Ricky Stenhouse or whoever. But if he didn't, let's say he was if it would have been one of those heats. There's a couple heats that there was I don't know, just a bunch of low name guys. I mean, wasn't the Stenhouses, wasn't the Brady Bacons, wasn't the there's just some local guys and stuff. If it would have happened during one of those heats and it was just local guys, would have been the same reaction? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it, but
I do too. But I think it got way blown out of proportion.
Yeah, I mean,
he had one bad lap. I mean, he wasn't all over the place in reality. I mean, he didn't spin out 12 times. He didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he came off hot.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I saw, like Ross we say, like, well, when I did it, I talked to the people around me, and then and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's what I mean.
But
they use their head.
But this guy was like, I'm here to race.
Right.
Like he didn't give a shit. He didn't have experience. He says, I'm here to race.
I mean,
so I understand
Ross
both sides.
And Gravy and them smart enough to know you're not going to win the Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
And this guy kind of had the attitude, I think, of, hey, I might go out there and make the main in this, which and he was in over his head
again. But if you're a racer, you can't fault the guy because that's what we do. Like,
well, and he was very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I mean, his interviews were.
Yeah. Here in the qualifier. Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
I
don't know what that is.
How you feeling? Good enough?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I rented this ride. And then it clicked. Did you see what it clicked with him? He goes, yeah, I rented this ride. He said, oh, that's a whole nother deal, I guess. I got to because you wrecked the fucking thing.
Yeah. Then he's like, they're like, well, what happened to the car? Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about these, but it looks like the front axle is broken.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of those other things on the car is broken.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of overreaction because I've seen just as bad, if not worse, from, I don't want to say experienced guys, but they've been there before 3, 4, 5, 6 years and do the same thing. I mean,
we've seen experienced guys though look like asses before too,
especially at Chili Bowl.
Yeah, but that was the big talk of Friday night. Then obviously Justin Grant goes on to win,
which he didn't win last year, but he won like 2 or 3 or 4 years in a row before that on Friday night. So
when he was with
I've seen a lot of people kind of, whoa, why don't they do this different? Because the same people. Because Bell's won,
Rico.
Yeah, but I mean they're like 7, 8 in a row now.
Rico's 6.
Yeah.
And now McIntosh is 2 in a row. So
I said, why don't you just put Bell, Rico, and Larson all on the same qualifying night?
Yeah. I mean,
it won't happen, but
no. And if you don't like it, beat them.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. I mean, it's racing. It's not.
Right. Well, and I don't care. They're all on different nights. It's still, they're good.
Yeah.
They're that good, but it's not a give me, especially 60 to 64 cars a night. And there's good, talented drivers, even local guys, surprise guys, Jacob Denny from Ohio.
Yep.
We've seen him win a D2 midget race at Gas City. He's ran basically D2s. I don't even know if he's ran a full-size midget ever. Goes out there and gets a 6th place finish on his qualifying night. Who would have guessed that?
Your buddy that flipped Sammy off.
Yeah.
He was another one.
And he's been there for a long time, but he hasn't had that many good runs. I mean, exactly. And a guy like a Hank Davis and some guys like that that's been there. But there's guys like that every year. And that's what I mean. You have all your big shots. You have, but then you have these little guys or like that. Perfect example, Daniel Robertson's been there for several years and's had some all right runs, had some bad runs, had some decent runs, but all of a sudden having the run of his life. So it's not a give me on any night. So, and you have to have some luck.
Yes.
You have to have the right passing deal. As you can see, you can start on a pole of heat. It didn't kind of play out that way this year. It did for a few guys and actually go backwards in points and really mess up your night if you're a big guy.
Yeah. Another one that stands out, Alex Bright.
Yes.
I mean, he was an upfront guy all week.
And I should have picked him on my fantasy video because I like Alex Bright, and I was there the year they won the qualifying night and his own stuff, and I know that 25 stuff's good, and I was like, yeah, but last few years he's just had terrible luck and around up front. Then he's up there and it's like, there's Alex Bright. There was a few years ago up here
in a last minute ride too.
Yeah. Oh, and it's cool to see Alex Bright. I mean, here's a local Pennsylvania guy. I mean, they don't have a ton of money to compete, and he's always ran good.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool to see Alex run good.
Yeah, it was an interesting another one to bring up. Obviously Saturday night, we're talking kind of now. Before we get to Jason McDougal, who obviously caught everyone's eye, I wanted to bring Chase Elliott up.
Yeah.
You know, I've been hearing the talk around the racing world with him, and the word respectable comes up, and I think that's appropriate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think he was just in an F main and was a spot or two short of the transfer, but
main and well, yeah, and you could tell on his qualifying night, and I don't know if you've seen the interview Saturday with him Saturday night, you know, and you could tell on his qualifying night, like he got better as the B main went on. He got better. He almost made the A main.
Yeah,
I mean, if it would have been a couple more laps, I think he would have liked. And so he said, he goes, you know, the car, you know, these guys are. The car is a lot better than the driver was, or, you know, I'm not, you know, there's guys a lot better drivers than me in this form of racing out there because I just finally felt my groove.
Yeah.
The last 5 laps of the B main on the qualifying.
And I like the fact that he was like excited to like, you know, I got to get in these more. I got to do this more. I mean, you know, definitely, like he took it as a challenge and wants to do it again.
Well, it sounds like if he's allowed from Mr. Hendricks, that sounds like he'd like to run because he goes, I don't want this a one-time deal and I don't want just this race. I'd like to run some other bigger events or some other events of this, which we all know sometimes Indiana Midget Week's in the middle of the week, maybe a few of those, or like say Turkey Night, Millbridge
decides to get a date or two. And but I mean, he did about, I'd say he probably went a little higher than expectations in my book.
Yeah, I think so too. And his expectations, he didn't do as good as he wanted to, which I get it. That's the racer in him. And I think it's cool. He gave credit to a lot of people too, like Paul May. We've seen Paul May for years.
Oh yeah.
I know Paul May is a big part of that team. He's actually listed as car owner, and I don't know how much of it he owns of it or all of it. Maybe he might own all of it. I'm not sure, but Briscoe's is part of that deal on that.
Yeah.
But, and he talked about Kyle Larson. He talked about his, like he said, he goes, you know, I need to learn a lot more, but to me, I don't know, just a NASCAR guy coming in there. A lot of them wouldn't admit, I don't think personally, depending on which one, someone that'd be like, oh, well, you know, I mean, he's like, dude, the car's a lot better than I am. You know, I need to learn. And Kyle Larson did this, Paul May did this, Chase Briscoe did that, you know, like they're all helping me. It's like, I need to learn from them instead of just like, well, I know everything. Give me a helmet. I'm going to,
wheel
wear Hans device and flip.
I'm gonna wheel it, man.
Yeah. So
I mean, send it, bro.
And he did. I mean,
he was good. It wasn't bad.
He was wheeling it for like he didn't go out there just for show. Let's put it that way.
Well, and we've heard all the the talk of when you're new to the Chili Bowl, like your accomplishments are it's interesting, right? Oh, I made a B main. I made a C main. Like any other time, you're going, okay, whatever. B main, C main. But at Chili Bowl, it's not easy.
No. Well, and just look at some of those guys that's raced for years that won, like some of the other mains, like the H and G and all that, and they get a plaque. And some of those guys, like, man, especially I can't think of his name right now. The one from Vermont or Connecticut, Jeff. He's in the other Johnson car, 72 car.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, what the heck? I can't think of his name. Cool guy. I mean, it's awesome to see guys like that win, and that's just excited to, you know, and that's what Chili Bowl is about to me. And that kind of going back to Eisenberg or whatever that flipped. That's what Chili Bowl is about. I mean, he's excited. He don't give a shit. He just flipped his dick off. And he's like, "Oh, I'm good enough, man. This is great. I don't know what qualifier is, but I'm ready to roll." You know, just I don't know. It brings excitement. To me, that's what helps to make the Chili Bowl special. Is one, it means something besides just a race. If you win a J Main, it's a huge accomplishment. And there's people that have enthusiasm for it. Just as you mentioned, Daniel Robinson flipping off Sammy, and everybody's like, "Oh," and that's the thing that got me. I thought it was funny, but everybody's like, "Oh, well, Sammy dirty him." I didn't see where Sammy dirty him. At Chili Bowl, everybody blocks their lines. Sammy
looked Sammy's a great race car driver.
Oh, he was terrible on that
last lap. He looked like a no talent ass clown.
Well, he missed his line, and there's a lot of guys that did that.
Yeah, he's not the only one. You're right, but
there's a lot of guys doing it, leading the race.
Yes, there's a lot of guys.
Larson did it a couple times Saturday night.
And there's guys that just drive over people when they do it too. He didn't do that by any means.
No, he blocked the line.
He did look like shit.
Well, and I think what he did, and Sammy said he screwed up.
Yeah.
I think what he did is he was caught in the middle because he had a guy high and Robinson low, and I think we went down to block Robinson, and
it just whoop.
Yep, kind of overcooked it going to the corner. And Robinson, it's funny. He goes, I wasn't pissed. 20 years I've been racing this guy. I never passed him, and it was funny. He was like, right or wrong, I wanted to do something, didn't know. And he goes, that's just kind of what came out.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to wave at him, decided to flip him off instead.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty funny.
It was. Away from what I've heard, Sammy and Kevin, all them thought it was funny too.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't. And even they're like, well, you think Sammy's going to come down here and talk to you? He's like, no, he won't.
No, he won't.
Then I've seen some people asking, they said Kevin and Sammy and them was kind of laughing about it too. Like, well, that just shows you, like you said, the prestige of the event. Here's somebody, Sammy's been in that guy's head for 20 years, evidently. He's like, I've tried to pass that old man for 20 years. I finally do it. But that's the prestige of a Daniel Robinson can do that, at Chili Bowl, whether it's Kyle Larson, Sammy Swindell, Brad Sweet, whoever he passes. And there's people that feel that way at Chili Bowl all the time. And man, I just beat this. Holy crap.
Flipping the bird.
That's right.
See you later. So Saturday, obviously Jason McDougal was the talk of the day.
Yes.
Had a good run going. Still not a record.
No.
JJ Yaley holds that currently still. I believe 67 or 69 cars passed was Yaley's. But McDougal was
62,
might be 62, but McDougal was like 35 or something.
Oh no, he was close to the record.
I don't think he was that close.
I do.
But I don't know where, I can't remember where he started, where he ended up. He started I or H.
Shit, I don't know.
We should know this.
I
probably started I and ended in D, right?
Yeah.
And disappointingly ended in D.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy about that too.
I think there was. I think it's just it was the emotion of the thing on Saturday night. I don't think there's any more controversy. I think it's done over the bridge type of thing.
Well, and and Ryan Burnell, for people that don't know, that didn't see it, his final transfer spot, and Burnell went in low, and McDougal, he thought he was going to slide high. McDougal was blocking that, like we said before, Chili Bowl, you're blocking. Got in there a little too hot. You tell it definitely wasn't a big time intentional deal like I see McDougal doing a lot of those races. Yeah. There's some guys he planted in the fence, and everybody. Yeah. I mean, literally, he had contact. I bet you with 8 to 10 cars in those mains going through there. McDougal did.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets tapped a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a super hard tap by any means.
No,
I mean, it wasn't a plain ass blatant.
Yeah, the talk was it was intentional, but we've seen people drive through people. That's intentional. This was definitely just a little misjudgment.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to drive through him. And it's for the last transfer spot of the Chili Bowl. I mean, for God's sakes, we let the USAC midget title. And granted, it's not USAC sanctioned. I understand that, but we let it win like that. And admittedly, the driver said I drove through the guy because I knew that meant title, and everybody's applauding him. Mm-hmm. So now Burnell gets into, yes, I understand McDougal had a great run. So, but Burnell kind of got in there and fully took the blame. Hey, I got in there.
Yep. Misjudged it.
Just misjudged it. And this final lap of the transfer of the Chili Bowl, I get it.
Yeah.
Ask Tony Bieber about Troy Rutherford. Year he was there, he flat ass drove over him in turn 4 and planted him, and Tony wanted to rearrange his face on the track, and they wouldn't let him. Did they just qualify Troy Rutherford? No.
Well, and obviously Saturday's a long day of racing. How many other shitty sliders?
Oh yeah,
or bad contacts did we watch Saturday throughout the day without any?
I might get some hate mail for this, but it's almost like McDougal's got a ring around him too, because to me, I think Courtney Crone got screwed in her heat race when they had contact, and everybody's like, well, she planted him on the front stretch. If you look at that video, I'm pretty sure the car behind her got into her a good run off there and kind of tagged her, and it shot her car, because Courtney Crone's a decent driver. She's a good driver. She ain't going to turn right in the middle of front stretch of the Chili Bowl to try to wreck both of them.
Yeah.
And it looks like to me, and I could be wrong. I couldn't see, but I watched that replay several times. It looks like to me the car behind her might have got into her a little bit and pushed her, and she jerked the wheel and hit him. Well, she gets sent to tail. It's like, to me, I just find it weird that 2 incidents with McDougal and both the other people have paid the price.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of other people that ran over people several times that didn't get that. It's like and I don't have a problem with the disqualification or that if you're consistent across the board.
Yeah.
You can't say, okay, this guy hit McDougal, he's disqualified. But this guy hit Anthony Eisenberg. Oh, well, it's Anthony Eisenberg. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what happened, I think, a few times there. And
yeah.
To me, that's what made it worse than anything, because Jerry Coons Jr., Mitchell Moles, if that's what we're doing, Mitchell Moles should have been disqualified too, because he flat ass ran over Jerry Coons Jr. and planted him in the middle of front stretch wall.
The next race, Anton Hernandez.
Yes.
We got I can't remember who he plowed into. And I mean, it didn't look like it was intentional. It looked like he was just racing hard. Maybe a little out of control, but nothing intentional. But I can't remember who he plowed. Kirk Spurgeon from USAC said, well, if so Hernandez doesn't get disqualified, but Bernal did, right? So same, like you said, you got to be fair on the calls.
Yeah. I mean,
and I get it with McDougal. It was made out of out of emotion.
Well, and everybody there, I mean, and a lot of fans was on McDougal's side, which, don't get me wrong, it was a great drive, and I ain't saying it was right what happened by any means, but and granted, not saying it was a USAC event, but when you kind of set a precedent of, okay, midget racing all year, we haven't penalized anybody that's ran over everybody,
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of set it there. Granted, it's different people, I understand,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a judgment call, but there's a lot of other judgment calls that, I don't know, there's just
here's a question, because I've battled with this in one of those hate mail type scenarios. I think McDougal's run, was it impressive or was it expected?
I think it's impressive because, to me, it's Chili Bowl. He's passing a lot of cars. There's some good cars in those mains, and just because you don't know their name or I don't know their name, some of those guys have multi-feature wins all over.
Yeah. I feel like the first 3 mains he was in, it was expected.
Well, yeah,
the transfer.
But it's hard because you got to have some luck, because some of them do a time limit. And I think the one, he just made literally made the final transfer spot and the time limit ran out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's the thing in those earlier A mains that a lot of people don't understand. I've seen them before where they've only got 2 laps in because of the time limit.
Yeah.
So you're starting dead last and you got past 8-10 cars. You got to do it in 2 laps.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you got to.
And those early ones are like only 2 transfer, then they go to 4 transfer, then to 5, and then obviously to B main 7. But that was just something I kind of thought, and I say it because I know McDougal's talented. We've seen him race now. He's maybe been a little under impressive actually compared to what was kind of thought at the beginning. Granted, he's hopped rides a little bit. The car driver or team driver combo may not have been right a few times, but I feel like the first 3 mains he was in were probably like expected for him to get through.
I think it's impressive he did it in the East car, because
yeah,
that's why I didn't pick him in the fantasy team and all that, because the East car hasn't done a lot in the last few years there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's good stuff, don't get me wrong, and as we all know, Bob East and Beast used to have the best stuff in the world at one time, but the last few years, no matter who's been in a car, it just has went forward a lot at the Chili Bowl. And so, you know, they had everything hitting, and I don't know. I think it's impressive. I mean, because some of the moves he was making, and yes, he had a lot of contact, but you have to. That's the Chili Bowl.
It's full contact.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's the other thing that gets me is everybody was making excuses. Oh, well, that's Chili Bowl. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Then when the Bernal McDougal, oh my God, and it's like, what happened to? It was a Chili Bowl. That's what happens.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden the tides changed. It was, I don't know. It was one of those deals. I mean, it was a bad deal. Don't get me wrong. And it sucks for McDougal. I mean, it robbed him. And if I was in McDougal's place, I'd be pissed. If I was in McDougal's place, I wouldn't have took it as good as him. I would have parked that son of a bitch Jack Hewitt style.
Yeah. Well,
there ain't no doubt in my mind.
I go back to, we talked about my Uncle Bill at the beginning of this, and it kind of always this like that's racing. I mean,
Yep.
we could tow out to Tulsa with a midget that we just paid the highest dollars
Oh
for.
yeah.
Go out the first heat race of our qualifying night, get taken out,
Yep.
and race a C main, finish last. We're in the M main, and you race one race, you don't transfer. That's your day. That's your
Oh
week.
yeah.
That's your
There's a
week
lot
at
of people at
Tulsa.
Chili Bowl that's that way.
I mean, it's racing. It's
Yep.
shit's like you're
Oh, yeah.
gonna have flat tires while you're
Yep.
leading on the last lap. You're gonna blow motor. I mean,
Yep.
it's just
You're
it's
gonna
part
mess
of it.
up. Look at Zeb Wise.
Mhm.
Had a perfect position and flipped with a couple laps to go, trying to get a little extra
Yeah.
deal and screwed up, you know.
Yeah, and
I
that
mean-
that is one thing. Obviously, we're kind of going off track, but with the Chili Bowl, that's great, and I'm pretty sure it's been said every year, like by a lot of people, probably by us. It's like every time you're on the track, every position matters.
Yes.
You know, you think
That's what makes the Chili Bowl awesome.
that's one thing. Like to me, that just has gotta suck is when your prelim night, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you have the guy from Ohio. What was his name?
What, Jacob Denny?
Denny. Right? He had a great night. He stood out. He finished sixth in his prelim night. That's really good.
Yeah.
We put you in the what D main?
B main.
B main.
Yeah.
Was he in a B main?
Yeah.
For finishing sixth?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because
like
top two, yeah, go to the A, then 3, 4, 5, 6, go to the B.
you sure?
Mhm.
Okay. And then like Casey Schumann, our buddy
Yeah.
Casey, he had a good prelim night, I thought. Had to run a C main.
If you're in the A main, that's the thing. If you're like, say, what is it, 12th on back, yeah, you're in some of those like F.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can make the A main. You can, yeah, like you said, we can be. Obviously, we've talked about it. I've loved to run a car there. Let's say some miracle, I got there, run my ass off, make the A main, have the career night like I did when I raced the modified, drove out my ass and got luck and all that shit. Make the A main, get 20th, and you're still, I'm in the E or F main on Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
look, I made the A main, which would be still a huge accomplishment, but
Yeah. I mean, but
it just tells you how tough it is.
well, that's the thing. And then you're in that whatever main, E main, D main, and you're next to, Hunter Schoenberg and these other guys who have good accomplishments.
I've said that for a long time. If you're in one of those mains, you're, the first like E, F, whatever, you're the 100 best cars there.
Yeah.
And there's still big names that are behind you, like I said, with some luck or some bad things. And to me, that's why McDougall's run was impressive, even with some of those, because there's a lot of good guys. There's a lot of good Chili Bowl guys, and that he was beaten, and it's not household names, but I've seen have good runs there and have good runs at their local track or wherever.
Yeah.
And, so that's why I think is impressive. It had a sucky ending. And not only sucked for him, I met Ryan Burnell last year, sat with him all Chili Bowl. They sat in our role and we got to know him. And I guarantee you he feels bad about it.
Yeah.
And it sucks for him because it's into his deal too.
Mm-hmm. I think they should just let him transfer through.
I think so too. I mean, I really do. I mean, yes,
I think it goes. Obviously, race fans are passionate, but
oh yeah,
you saw what I posted, and I know you're the same boat. Jordan Swindell was the same thing.
Oh, there's a lot of people
just like going ape shit. It's like, guys, this is racing.
A lot of racers, a lot of people that was bitching were fans.
Yeah,
and a lot of people that were sticking up for him are racers.
Exactly, and me and you were both kind of raised. I feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It's between the racers at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
So, whatever however McDougall and Bernal decide to take care of it, that's all that matters. Like, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I ain't saying how McDougall handled it was wrong with it.
Yeah.
I get that's why my mom always says she's glad I don't race, because my brain don't work with my foot, and my temper at times don't either. I would have parked my car right in the Matt Wood pit on top of Bernal's car, like, push me off.
Yeah. I mean, I
ain't saying that's the right way to do it, but Jack Hewitt made a living out of it, and everybody liked
it. Yeah. So, that was the Chili Bowl. Then Saturday night, obviously Kyle Larson repeats the win. Yeah. Christopher Bell looks like he's charging, hits that cushion, flips to high hell.
That was a nasty flip.
And then Justin Grant goes on to take second. Good job for him.
Well, I think the first, what was it, 15 laps or so. I mean, they was side by side. I think Grant was actually faster.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get around him.
Yeah, and Larson even admitted like that was a harder win than last year because he wasn't smooth sailing. He had to defend, and
well,
then
he screwed up there a few times.
And I mean, they never got into lap traffic. There was a
Well,
caution.
that's the thing.
If it would have got lap traffic, would have been interesting.
I would have loved to seen the last 15 laps, even last 20 would have been awesome. Because I don't think Kyle Larson would have won.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he would have. And like I said, that go back to what I talked about earlier. Everybody's like, well, it's kind of boring race, blah, 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 the track prep. Well, I've been at Chili Bowl several times, as I've whined about on here, and I missed this year.
Whined fucking for how long this
they
year?
They have always, every year I've been there, except for in 1994, the first time I went. Always, when I started going back yearly, it was 2000, let's say 6 or 7, whenever Sammy – I was there when Sammy won his last one. I was there when Kevin started winning. But anyways, they take an hour between the B main and A main. They always rework the track, full rework. Have every year. It's at least an hour.
This year was 2.
Yeah, this year is a lot longer. I understand that. But everybody's like, oh, they've never done this before. No, they do it.
Yeah, they always rework. I mean, the Mavs. Obviously it's a fan question coming up too, but the MAV TV portion always is like this. Well, it always drags on. It's always like,
the MAV part, see, and I come to find out, which this year is different because it was live on Facebook. It was live and all that stuff. There was stuff done before. Our program at the track was about 20 minutes to a half hour ahead of the MAV deal. Yeah. So you didn't see the hour and a half delay on MAV before, because the program, they edit some of that out.
Well, you saw between B and A, you saw, but maybe before the season.
Well, this year, because it was live nonstop on Facebook and everything.
But even on MAV in the past, it's always a long time between B's and A's.
Yes.
But yeah, this year, I just think
it was longer. Don't get me wrong.
I just think they missed the boat this year in particular, making it longer because it was a Facebook Live free thing. Yes. Like, we could have had a lot of new people watching, and they all probably went to bed.
Well, I think they should have did, which we'll get into fan questions, with driver introductions. I don't know why that's one of my
never do. And that's another thing people are bitching.
Favorite things.
Favoritist.
Yep, favoritist.
That's one thing people are bitching about. They've never done them on MAV TV. They always talk through them like they did.
I didn't know that.
I know you're always there. You're always there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing people are bitching about. That the driver intros. They never broadcast them. They talk over them like they did this past year too.
Yeah, well, that sucks.
And I don't like driver intros that much anyway, so I don't care. But
well, you suck too. Then.
Plus, I just turned it to Flow to watch the Wild West shootout anyway that night.
Well, so that sucks too.
But yeah, the MAV TV portion always kind of sucks because you watch a C main and then you maybe watch a second C main if they don't do something in between. And then once they do the 2 C mains, they always do a little track prep. So you're sitting there with your thumb up your ass waiting for B mains. And then the B mains go, and then yes, they always rework the track. Now this year, my opinion is the track work they did, it took longer, and I get it why they did it. I just don't think it did as much as they wanted.
Well, and I'm not a big fan of a complete track work. I've said it for years. I get it's 55 laps, but to me, they have it too heavy, and I've said it. I still go back. To me, the first 20 laps is too heavy.
Yes,
it has been.
And then,
I want to see a track like it was on Wednesday, when you have guys coming from the C, a handful of guys coming from the C main to the A.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I didn't like about not being there. See, we had guys doing it on Saturday, like Pittman and a couple other ones coming through, but we didn't see it because cameras is always on the leaders.
Well, that was my thing. I was thinking that like, oh man, the track prep sucked because nobody passed. But then I saw that, I'm like, oh, I'm obviously wrong here. We just didn't see it.
Yes.
We were busy watching the parade up front, because that was the one thing the track prep did that screwed him up was, it slicked off, but it got such a heavy cushion that there was no bottom groove. So you couldn't race side by side.
Well, and if you notice the stat, I don't know if you've seen it, it told where the average Chili Bowl finish winner has come from the last how many years? 3.8.
Mm-hmm.
On qualifying nights, you got your top point guys, but you had guys coming charging. I mean, Tanner Thorson almost won the other night from way back. Yeah. I mean, Stenhouse from way back. A bunch of guys. And to me, it's like, I know it's going to wear out before You don't want a Tuesday night deal where it rubbers up and it's going to wear out. But man, give them a track that we could see like on Saturday night. Yeah, it lasted for 30 laps. Or I was even thinking like Saturday morning. I mean, yeah, it had a little rough, but they got a lot of races in.
Yeah,
a lot of laps.
It was good till like the D.
It was very racy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
it couldn't have been. It had to have been racy for McDougal to do what he did.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, and he was good up to like the D main.
Yeah,
I mean, and it was.
And I've always said that about Chili, but it always turns out being an excellent finish because after 20 laps, it starts coming in for the last 30.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it took a little longer. It didn't come in until about the last 15 really well.
Yeah.
And that's where traffic would have been awesome, I think, because
I think there was, like I said, there was no bottom groove. So getting into lap traffic, there wouldn't have been a place for anyone to go. No. I mean, so it would have been crazy.
I don't think Larson would have won. I think he knows he wouldn't have won.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think just the way he was talking, I think he knows that he wouldn't have won.
Those cautions came at the right times for him.
They did. Yeah. But guy wins that many races, you got to have a little luck on your side too.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
Chili Bowl, to win a Chili Bowl, I don't care how good you are, and I think everybody that's won will tell you have to have a little bit of luck on your side.
Yeah,
because again, that's why it's my favoriteest, your favorite word, event of the year, and that's why I was so salty about missing it. Is because it promotes passing, it promotes racing, and I have people all the time. It's like, well, what's so great about what? And then they see it. I was like, oh my God, there's cars passing. Yeah, that's what it does. It promotes passing. I can't help it that a lot of things don't promote passing throughout the season.
Some of those prelim nights, though, like if you're in early heats, you're kind of screwed.
Well, yeah,
but that's just the nature of dirt racing.
Yeah, because it's very hammered down. But some of those heat races sucked, and you get a batch every once in a while. It does, but still, it promotes a lot of passing and the track.
And I will say that's one weird thing, I don't say weird, but that's the good thing with the Chili Bowl is that can happen because it doesn't seem like it happens a lot in any other discipline throughout the summers, right? Like you don't get guys just, oh, we got all these cars, you race, and then someone starts in 8th and they can win a heat race. Like that doesn't seem to happen.
It don't reward that many. Well, except for, like some of the formats now that you can start the top 2 can go to the A main or the dash or whatever. But a lot of it don't reward anything. It don't pay any money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't pay points, I've had a lot of people like, man, these heat race points that you do, I mean, it gives them something to charge for. Like, and I've had drivers tell me, it's like, we're sitting there just riding in heat race, like, oh shit, we're second in points and we're only a couple points behind this guy. We got to try to pass him in the heat race now because it pays points.
Yeah.
And I've had some of them, especially the car owners, say it sucks because now my driver's trying to race harder.
Mm-hmm.
It might tear my shit up in the heat race because they're worried about points. But
you don't just get the 3rd place and cruise because you transfer.
Yeah. And to me, and I've said it about Knoxville National, that if you give them the incentive to pass, they will pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
and like you said, Chili Bowl, one spot could be 4 rows or 2 rows, 4 rows, and could be a different main even. Look at who was it? Well, Sammy. If he wasn't have screwed up, missed that line, he was 17th in points by 1 point. If he would have finished 3rd, he wouldn't have dropped back. He would have started like I think 12th in the A main. Instead, he started 1st in the B main.
Yeah,
missing 1 corner.
And then, we got to talk about him on Saturday night.
Yeah, that didn't last long. Dude, did you see the roll cage?
Yeah, I was like, that's something you don't see from TV or the stands, where you think, why didn't he just keep going?
Yeah,
he probably saw that and said, I'm done.
Yeah,
it's the bent cage.
Well, that was a pretty hard hit.
And was it by himself or did someone tag him? It looked like he was by himself, but I didn't see.
It looked like it, but I've heard a lot, you can't tell from the camera. Nobody. Well, let's say from all the cameras,
who the hell am I asking here? Okay, never mind.
No, you couldn't tell. But heard a lot of people say that he got tagged by. I don't know. I don't know. I thought it looked like he was by himself, but there was a car kind of in the vicinity, and I had some people that are up on the thing text me saying that guy tagged him, but I don't know because the stage. I mean, depending, you have to be looking right there at the right time. So
yeah, I mean, I think.
Regardless, it wouldn't surprise me if he was by himself just because he hadn't been on the track and that track was tricky at that time. And his car
nailed the inside berm. And
CV will tell you that those cars are a little tricky, especially the first few laps. And CV said, isn't it? As long as I don't mess up the first junket in the first few laps or go backwards like he did the night before, and he says once you get to rolling, you're good. But it's just I don't know what it is about their cars, but I've seen Sammy do it at St. Louis last year.